Good morning, Facebook. We're about to record. What is the date on this one? I can't speak.
The 22nd.
22nd, April 22nd. The title of the show is "The Clock is Ticking." We're going to talk today about what retirement looks like if you've procrastinated, and how do we solve that problem. So give us just a minute, and we'll be ready to start recording.
Okay, I am ready.
All right, I'm recording.
Good morning, folks. This is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group, and I have my associate and friend Steve Lewis here with me. And today's show, folks, if you were tuning in, it's called "The Clock is Ticking." That's right, the clock is ticking. And which clock is ticking? Well, your retirement clock. And the reason that we're saying it's ticking right now, we've had about 4 to 5 months of a bull run like we've never seen. It's seen record highs. I've seen people's 401ks account go up and things of that nature. But oddly enough, there's still people on the sidelines that are still stuck in that 2008 mode. They're not making any money, and they have exposure. You have people now that are not paying attention and have exposure. So these are all strategies that you need to make a decision about. Now, folks, you can reach us at 864-989-0176. 864-989-0176. You can email me at greg@mymoneyissafe.com, or you can email Steve at steve@mymoneyissafe.com. And folks, the phone lines are actually open during the show, so it's not a live show, but the operators are there live. And so if you have a question, I recommend that you give us a call. We are getting a lot of calls and activities. So if you want to give us a call, we'll be glad to set up a time to go over some of these with you, because the clock is truly ticking. Steve, we spoke earlier before the show, and you had some ideas in your mind, I think, based on some of the stuff that we've noticed. I think one of the things we talked about is there's a segment of the people out there that feel like they don't have enough time to prepare for retirement, and they're not even sure what to do. They haven't really saved that much money. They think maybe putting $6,500 in an IRA at 58 years old is the way to go, and we've run into a few of those people, and they seem incredulous because when we mention to them what to do, because nobody's talking about this.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And actually, you made me think of a different perspective of the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking from the economy standpoint. We talk about that all the time. We've been kicking the can down the road, and at some point we have to pay the piper. It just has to happen. But when we were talking about the clock is ticking, it was about those people that have perhaps procrastinated, and now they're up to they're getting closer to retirement. They see the light coming at the end of the tunnel, or the train coming, I guess, so to speak.
Or they got 4 girls that they had to pay for 4 weddings, and it kind of put a dent into their...
It drained whatever they were saving. Exactly. And so now, what do they do? How do they make up that time? Can they make up that time? If they're 60, can they make up time before they retire at 70? Is there a way for them to have enough put aside that they can actually live comfortably?
Steve, there is. And we met with a few people that, again, here's the problem. I'm going to tell this to you folks in the radio airwaves. Most people don't believe they don't understand that this is available, that there is a way that you can get the ball rolling, even though you started late in the game. But it's not the status quo. It's not this typical stuff that you hear. Now think about it. If you have money, you're putting $6,500 in an IRA at what age? 60 years old, right? Mm-hmm. In 10 years, you got about $65,000, hopefully. And that's if the thing makes money. That depends on whether it has exposure to the market. But if you used a safe instrument, you're doing pretty good. But we can show people to take the same $6,500, put it into an account where they're going to probably earn significantly more safely, and now that the return is tax-free. Now the only difference is they don't get the tax deduction of the $6,500. But you know what? There's that old commercial. I don't know, maybe I'm dating myself, but it was a phone commercial, and the guy would say, "You could pay me now, or you can pay me later." And
I don't remember that one.
No, thanks, Steve.
I'm too young.
So you're dating me even further. Okay, well, I got 10 years on you. So here's the reality is that's the truth. If you can pay the person now, you can pay it later. Folks, on a tax-free account, you've got nothing counting towards your Social Security. So if you're 60 years old and you really don't have that much, but you're disciplined and you've got some money that you can put away monthly or yearly into one of these type of tax-free plans, that truly is the way to go.
Absolutely. And, we also talked about, I have in my mind somebody that we met with this past week, and, she's a lady that's 60 years old, and she's actually in a position where she's put some money aside, but hasn't gone through some other life changes and other things, and so she doesn't have a tremendous amount for retirement. She's putting money into her 401k, and that was basically the bulk of her retirement, other than a small vehicle that she had. And so we were able to actually take her 401k, put her in a safe position, because as we've talked about many times on this show, 401ks are great vehicles if your company is matching the money that you're putting in there, then it's a no-brainer. Then obviously you're doubling your money when you put it in. You put in $1, they match the dollar. You need to do that. But at some point, you've also got to make sure that that money is safe. And so, what we've done with this particular lady and many other clients is we've been able to take that money and move it into a position where she's going to get a bonus up front, and every single year that the account makes money, she's going to get another bonus, and the money is absolutely safe. So we put her in a much better position, and she's still contributing to her 401k. So it's not that we're taking away that opportunity for the 401k, but we're just maximizing the opportunity that she has.
Well, and Steve, what people don't get is it's tax-free compound interest. Tax-free compound interest, and the caps are higher. Now, one thing I want to address, and we have several products out there that are safe money products that have caps. There's one particular product now that we have has a cap of 10%. So we haven't seen rates like that in 10 years. We're talking where somebody can put money in a safe account based on the S&P 500, and if the S&P continues to go, they can make up to 10% and lock in their gains, Steve. It's pretty amazing. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that I'm starting to really focus on is doing accounts that may not have income riders, because part of the problem is some of these people are stuck. In fact, I'm seeing someone after the show who's got all this money in income value. I'm going to have a conversation with him and basically explain to him he needs to turn on the income, or else he's just wasted that money. Now, folks, we're on the air all the time. We're on Saturday mornings at 7, Sundays at 11. And give us a call if you have an annuity. And, there's a lot more shows now. People are talking about a lot of different things. But we've consistently stayed on the same message with having a foundation of safe money. But part of the problem is a lot of these accounts, they don't solve your problem. They might be a product that somebody will talk you into buying, but is anybody helping you with the plan? So listen, folks, if you want to give us a call, we can structure a Social Security plan. If you want a Social Security maximization report, call us at 864-989-0176, 864-989-0176. You can go to our website, mymoneyissafe.com. And do me a favor, folks, if you go to our websites, let us know specifically what you're wanting us to do for you or to talk to you about. It makes it a lot easier because we're getting so many contacts now. So again, you can go to mymoneyissafe.com, and we can talk about a Social Security Max report. We could show you an income plan, and it's all part of our prosperity plan, folks. And you're going to be hearing that a lot more on the upcoming weeks because the book is getting close to being done. It's called the Prosperity Plan, and we'll be able to give you a lot of information on there. Steve, you're absolutely right with what you said. With this particular person, she can contribute to her 401k. You made that money safe for her, but now she's got the money where she can dump in. And here's the amazing thing: she'll go much further with that money that she's going to dump in over the course of the next 10 years than she actually will with the money that she has in her 401k.
Yeah. So the money at risk, we're going to do better than the money at risk. So we made the money safe, and she's going to do better with that safe money than she would with the money that was at risk. So
that's exactly right. Because look, the correction will happen. It's not if, it's when. And I think it's very possible that people need to start looking now, again, sell high, buy low. Listen, we're almost out of time this segment, folks. Our phone lines are open, 864-989-0176. You can email us at greg@mymoneyissafe.com or steve@mymoneyissafe.com. Also, folks, we can help you with automobile insurance, homeowners insurance, as Steve's company, Security First, is helping people with that. Folks, we're out of time this segment. Tune in as we talk about The Clock is Ticking.
Raspy this morning.
Joe, we've got the music, please.
My brother does lighting design for like ballets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we were backstage one time as they were getting ready to do their thing, and all the singers were back there going Topeka, 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 and doing all these weird warm-up
Yeah.
calisthenics with their voice. It's funny.
The throat is a muscle.
Yep.
That's why they do that. Do cow noises. Mm.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Just,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm recording when you're ready.
Okay. Welcome back, folks. This is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group, and this morning, Steve and I are talking about the clock is ticking. Now, when we're talking about the clock is ticking, it could mean several things. It could be your clock is ticking because you haven't put money away for retirement and you're trying to figure out what to do. That's one aspect. The other clock that's ticking is what's going on with the market right now, with with what's going on politically. Steve, Trump seems to be hindered on every occasion, and he seems to be being forced into making decisions that are political. Perfect case in point. I was talking to someone about the DOL, which is the Department of Labor rule. And what that Department of Labor rule is, it talks about being a fiduciary where you're doing things for the best interests of the client. And we've tried to practice that as much as possible to do things in the best interests of the client with what we have. But of course, we need the government to force our hand to do it, mess up the servicing of what's going on. But here's the problem politically. How can he say, even though he's making potentially a delay is what we're hearing, how can he, the way this has been postured is, this is for the best interests of the client. So politically, how can he say, I'm not going to do what's in best interest for the client, other than to tell the truth and say, this may not be in the best interest of the client? But nobody's addressing it from that basis. Now, I think that there's things that are there. You and I have both seen abuse with people's accounts. We've seen churning. We've seen people that have lied about income riders and things like that. I mean, these are companies right here in this area, folks, where some of this stuff is being misrepresented. I'm telling you what it is. And if you're not sure, we had somebody that came to see us, and she had $400,000, and the person said to them, oh, today you made $80,000. Well, guess what? The person would have to live 30 years to make the $80,000, and she was 77, number one. And her death benefit would not be $480,000. Her death benefit was going to be like $396,000 because she paid a fee for that income rider. So the question is, did that person even need an income rider? The answer is no, they didn't need an income rider. But this is some of the stuff we run into. So yeah, there does need to be things that are there, but again, a wholesale mentality where you punish the whole platoon to make an example of the one doesn't always resonate in the best possible way.
No, and we've talked a little bit about Department of Labor ruling, and that was something that came about with the Obama administration and was really supposed to be enacted already, or actually right about this time this year, and fortunately it sort of put a stay on it. But the idea
Well, actually,
was...
the law is here. I listened to a thing, so the law is actually here. It's actually enacted. The implementation right now, that's what seems to be the delay, but it's on the books.
Well, but the idea was framed just like anything else. Just because it's framed in a certain way doesn't make it truth. They put it in the best interest of the client, and yet you and I both know that there are a lot of things about it that make it more difficult for us to service the client the right way.
Right.
And so, I understand what you're saying about, Trump being concerned about how do you say this is in the best, or this isn't in the best interest of the client, even though, we know that it is, or vice versa. I didn't say that very well, sorry, but you know what I mean. It's framed one way,
Right.
and then how can he counter against that?
Well, and that's the problem. That's the political world that we're in, where truth is relative, truth is not truth.
Yeah.
So you have to read between the lines. It's kind of pathetic, but that's the world we live in right now. So there's a lot of ambiguity with what's being said about certain things, and in many cases, what I've seen is the person who suffers is the client and the agent.
Yeah, and it is, you mentioned this, but it is absolutely stunning to me how many people we have come in and they bring their paperwork and, they start telling us what they have, and what they tell us they have versus what they have is completely different.
Right.
Or they have a misunderstanding and it is totally not in their best interest.
Right.
It's amazing how many times that happens. It really is. It's stunning.
There's no
It's
question
sad.
about it. And see, here's the thing, folks. I want to offer this to everybody that's listening here. Do you have a Social Security plan? Okay? Do you have a Social Security plan? What is your decision? Do you have the software to get the information that we can give you? And the answer is probably no. So if you are trying to make a decision on Social Security, you should talk to us. Secondly,
Well, let me interrupt you. Why should they make a decision on Social Security? What is the decision that they should make?
well, there's only 20,000 choices that they have.
Exactly.
20,000 choices. So, and the reason for that is every month is a choice. They can take Social Security. So at 62 years old, they can take it at 62 in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, etc. Then 63. So that's 12 choices right there. So in 3 years, you got 36 choices. Then you can file, you've got all of these rules. So rather than try to explain all of the rules, that Social Security, by the way, Social Security will not and cannot give you the information. So if you want that information, if you are thinking about taking Social Security at 62, that could be a grave mistake depending on your income situation. So Steve, that's why they need to call 989-0176 and request that we structure a Social Security report for them. It's well worth it.
So with the Social Security Vax report, you're telling me that there are strategies, or there's times and strategies where it would be more advantageous perhaps, or less advantageous for me to enact my Social Security benefits.
Absolutely. And also, we can show them where in many cases, we were talking about people who started late in retirement, we could use Social Security to create an asset. And are you hearing me, folks, to create an asset? Because the problem, income in Social Security is not creating an asset. Getting $400 a month more might sound good, and it looks good, but that may not be the right decision. And unless they do that report, they're not going to know what the correct decision is.
Right, so what you're saying is that, a lot of people have this mindset of, if I delay it, then I'll get more money later. And what you're promoting, what we advocate, is perhaps there's a much better strategy
Absolutely.
of taking advantage of it now, turning it into an asset, and when you look at the numbers and compare them, it's a no-brainer.
Right, and so what would determine that is their job situation, their income situation, where we can guide them into that strategy. Because think about it, somebody waits till they're 70 years old, and they're going to make $500 a month more. If they die the following month, that's it, there's nothing to show
That's
for
right.
it. With our strategy, they might take it at an earlier age, and they've got $80,000 to $100,000 in that 5-year period. So the question is, do you want $500 a month more, or do you want an extra $80,000 of assets that you can draw almost the same amount of income from?
Absolutely.
Listen, folks, we are almost out of time from this segment, and the thing is, we've talked about the Department of Labor, we've talked about Social Security plan. As we talk about in the next segment, I want to talk about an income plan. Do you truly have an income plan? Do you have a safe money plan? And these are some of the things that we do. So listen, if you have a 401k and you're in a position right now where you can do what's called an in-service rollover, typically you got to be 55 or over, normally 59 and a half. Give us a call and we will put together a correct income plan for you, and we'll look at that 401k and IRA. And Steve, that can be very, very valuable, because if the market does go down, and eventually it will, people might lose all of the gains they've made on their 401k. Listen, we're out of time, folks. Tune in as we talk about some more of the clock is ticking. That clock is flying.
Yeah.
Let's go with Song for Mama.
Okay.
And you weren't able to use that MP3 of that song, so we gotta figure out another way to get that.
The song that you wanted, Annie, the one that,
That she used for the service.
yeah. The problem that she was worried about it airing because in the chorus it has a cuss word in it.
Yeah, we're not playing the whole song. We're using segments, and that's in the middle end of
Maybe
the song.
20 seconds. That's
No, I
all.
understand that. I'm just saying that was her concern. So I can get that MP3 to him.
Okay.
I can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I just haven't done it because
I
of
can't
that.
even find a cuss word in the song. I've listened to it, I don't know if I can't find it.
Yeah.
And I heard it one time, and then she even said something, and you can't even catch it. But anyway,
Yeah.
where he's airing it, it wouldn't be there anyway.
Okay, I'll try to get that to you, Joe.
Is it live?
I don't think it's the same.
No, it's not a live
Yeah, I
version.
don't think it's the same quality as the other one. Hopefully it's a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that you heard before was from a video audio. That's why we probably lost some quality.
Yeah, it was outside.
Okay, recording when you're ready.
All right, folks, welcome back. This is Greg Ellie and Steve Lewis of the Prosperity Group, and today's show on the Stress-Free Retirement Hour is called The Clock is Ticking. You can call us at 864-989-0176, 864-989-0176. Now listen, folks, there's many of you, and I want to kind of put something else out there. We're going to talk about income plan, safe money plan, but we also have what I call a cash plan. And this is going away probably soon. And so we have an account that is available that will give you a double-digit bonus, will increase the value of your account probably by 50% as a death benefit. So in other words, if you got $100,000 and it's sitting around making nothing at the bank, we're going to add double-digit bonus to your cash right up front. And you also have a death benefit that's going to probably be about $150,000 depending on your age. And then by the end of the first year, that death benefit should probably increase to $225,000. So listen to me, folks. That's $100,000 that you have the potential of seeing immediate death benefit growth of $225,000. But you could walk away after a couple of years averaging 3 or 4% on that money. So it's a great cash account, but it's probably going away within the next month or two, if not before. So this is not a tease. This is just telling you exactly what's going on. So if you have cash that's sitting around, you've heard me talk about it on our website. It's called a rainy day plan. And we talk about this, and it's a great, great tool. But I'm just letting you know, folks, it's not going to be around. And right now, this account is incredibly liquid. It's incredibly liquid, so it's a great place to park your money. Had a client that put in $200,000, and he was able to walk away in 3 years with $236,000 in 4 years. 4 years. It was 3 years, Steve. So he did a tremendous return on that money, and he's now using it for income. So he gave up some of his earnings. So instead of actually walking away with $236,000, he's getting $220,000. But with the bonus on the new account that he can use for income, he's going to be in a great position.
Well, so as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about this, and you know, actually, I got a question this week from one of our clients that we were talking to, and she said, you know, this just sounds too good to be true. And she said, why don't, and she wasn't saying that in disbelief, she just said it sounds too good to be true. And then she said, why don't more people take advantage of this? And so as I'm sitting here listening to you talk about double-digit returns and bonuses and all that, and we talk about this all the time on this show, but if somebody, for a listener that's just out driving and they hear you talk about double-digit returns in this economy, you know, the one thing that pops into my head is, well, it's too good to be true. And so I have sort of two questions for you. The first, I guess, is you know, how can you explain that, because it does sound too good to be true, and how many, you've been doing this a long time, we've both been in the business a long time,
Right.
But you've been doing this here in the Greenville area for a really long time.
Yeah,
You know, how many of your
25
clients
years.
how many of your clients have been caught up by the the scam of it, you know, because it seems like a scam.
Well, I would say this, probably about 30% of our clients are using this. Now, a good percentage of our clients don't have cash as much as they have IRA money. So this is not money that we use for IRA. We do have one that works for IRAs, but what I'm talking about in this cash account is an actual CD alternative, if you will. It's that safe. Now, to answer your question, Steve, that's one of the reasons I make copies of statements and we black out the name of the client and the account numbers to show people the actual returns. You know, we're showing you statements. Now, of course, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to get the same return, but we've got multiple clients that are getting consistent returns. Last year, my client made 14% on that account.
Wow.
14%, but here's the problem. The company knows that they're giving away a whole lot, so I've already seen the rumblings that this is going to go away. But the good news is for people that take advantage of this, they are grandfathered into the rules. So this particular client, you know, he put in a couple of $100,000 a few years ago, and at that point he wasn't so much concerned about income. He wanted a good, safe place to put growth, and it was not IRA money. I mean, we're talking $36,000 in 3 years. That's it's like 12% a year. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
It is, it is. And you know, when I was talking about sort of the too good to be true, I wasn't just talking about this account. I mean, we talk about tax-free income. We talk about, you know, making your money safe, not losing, being in the market, but not being in the market to the extent that, you know, you never lose. Zero's our hero. We talk about all these great concepts that are out there. You know, we talk about leveraging for the ultra, you know, the higher income people that, you know, being able to borrow money to put in, and all these other strategies that we talk about. They all seem too good to be true.
Right.
And so I guess my question to you was, you know, how do you dispel that? And certainly the history of your company proves that what you've been, you know, preaching for the last many years is absolutely true.
Well, here's the thing, Steve. People have to put in their money somewhere. And I challenge anybody, if you want to look at this stuff and you want to see it, this is not too good to be true. It's available. That's there. And here's something else I want to say. I used to be one of just a couple of radio shows here. There's 6 to 7 financial shows that are out there. And I've listened to some of the shows. They're saying the same things we've been saying for 5 years now, but they're trying to throw a different twist to evoke, you know, you have one that's like a life-saving plan and this plan and that plan and all that. And Steve, it's the same stuff we've been talking for 5 years, and unfortunately, some of these strategies that they're talking about, some of them are on whole life chassis, and the problem with the whole life chassis is it's just not going to perform as well as an IUL over a 15, 25-year period. You are basing it on the benevolence of the company. So, folks, when we are talking about a tax-free strategy, we're talking about something that last year, some of our clients, I had one client, he made 18.31% on our tax-free strategy.
Wow.
So again, I'm not trying to boast about interest rates to intimidate, because you're right, it scares people away, but I'm going to tell people the truth, and if they want to look at it, I can show them a copy of the statement. Now, did he make 18.31% on 100% of his money? No, because we had different buckets of money. Overall, he made about 13% on his money, though, so he still did pretty well.
Still not bad.
13% on his money, and here's the other thing, Steve. That money's now locked in. The market cannot make him lose money on that game. And that's money that you could set in if you're young. If you're 20 years old, you can put in a few $100s a month. If you're 60 years old, you could put $10,000, $12,000 a year. I mean, this is great accounts. And here's the other side of it, Steve. The amount is liquid. In other words, if they need to access some of the cash, they can get to it pretty quickly, and that 59.5 rule doesn't apply like it does on an annuity or an IRA or something of that nature.
So the plans that we talk about, now, if I put my money in the market and I earn 13%, and I put my money with you and I earn 13%, you know, the difference between those two, you were very eloquent in what you said, but I wanted everybody to be clear and understand that, you know, next year, if the market, I've still got my money in the market, and that 13% that I earned, if the market drops 40%, I lose 40% of my account.
Right, you lost your 13 and then you lost another 27%.
Exactly, but if I have my money with you and the 13% that I earned,
With those accounts, absolutely.
I don't lose
You-
anything.
You don't lose anything because of the market. And that's the beauty of this thing. You're building on blocks where you know, you don't pull them out. So if you pictured blocks building up, you know, like a little child building up blocks, you know, if you go at the bottom of the block and you pull it under, that's what you can do in the market. Okay, it can do that to the blocks. The difference with our blocks is you can only, really, you can't even remove any of the blocks. You're always building on the blocks. So zero's the worst thing, is you don't add an extra block that year. So that's kind of a good way, you know, good analogy to try to put this. And folks, we've talked about a Social Security plan, we've talked about an income plan, a safe money plan, a cash plan. Folks, give us a call at 864-989-0176. If you are out of the area, and we have some segments in other states, you can reach us at 1-800-440-0434. That's 1-800-440-0434. If you want to email us, you can email us at steve@mymoneyissafe.com, greg@mymoneyissafe.com. Steve, we got about a minute and a half before the segment. Why don't you talk a little bit about some homeowners and things like that? Because you can save, you know, when all this hail damage has taken place, one of my children's cars has gotten totaled, and I think they're going to be really seeing some price increase on the insurance end.
well, there's no doubt. State Farm came out about a month ago and said that they had a $7 billion loss. It was with a B this past year. So there's no doubt that auto insurance, especially, is a very dicey thing at the moment. And you know, what I'm finding as I'm sitting with people is that the amount of coverage that they have, because everybody's been so bent on this 15%, 15-minute thing, that you know, that their coverages have been stripped down to nothing, and they don't realize that they've been saving money on premium, but they're going to lose money on the other side. I think people are finding out now, as they've had hail damage and others, you know, other damages that they've been involved in, accidents or whatever, that they are way underinsured. And so, you know, what I like to do is really take a holistic approach, very much like what we do at the Prosperity Group, and sit down and really figure out where are your exposures, what are your concerns, what do we need to cover, and then making sure that we do that. So I would encourage people, if it's been a while since you've looked at your insurance, you need to give us a call and just take a look at it. We have all the major companies that are out there, we have access to them, and we would love to have the opportunity just to give you a second opinion on that, because zero is our hero on that side just like the other. I don't want anybody I want zero exposure. I don't want anybody to lose you know, what they've worked so hard to gain.
No, that's very true, Steve. And folks, the clock is truly ticking, and now the clock is ticking on our end as well. So folks, give us a call, 989-0176. Request your income plan, your cash plan, your auto plan. This is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group.
I hope I haven't interrupted your flow too much, have I? I was just
No,
trying
no, it's fine. No.
to ask you questions.
You're
just
not
to
interrupting me
clarify.
at all. No,
Okay.
this is good.
All right.
This is
Your mind works.
somewhere it's snowy.
Your mind works so fast sometimes I feel like I want to pull you back in. So that's
No,
why
that's good.
That's why
This
I
is
asked you
good.
the question. Okay.
Did you get the song, Joe? Somewhere it's snowy.
Okay, I'm recording when you're ready.
Okay. Welcome back, folks, and this is our last segment for the hour here, and we're here with you every Saturday morning at 7 o'clock and Sunday morning at 11 o'clock, and we talk about stress-free retirement, how to show you strategies to make your retirement stress-free. And today, the title of our show is The Clock is Ticking, and that's not really stress-free when you think the clock is ticking. Kind of like the basketball game. First of all, go Gamecocks. That was a great, first of all, congratulations to the women for winning the national championship, and for the guys getting to the semifinals. We could have had a South Carolina-North Carolina game that came real close to doing this.
Well, you realize that this was the first, South Carolina almost had a sweep at the men's, but I guess you could, if you lump the women in because they won the national championship, we did have a sweep. So we won national championship in football with Clemson, and then I forget the name of the team. I'm sorry, I'm from South Carolina. I'm not from South Carolina, but in baseball, we won the national championship in baseball. That was on the coast down in Charleston. The school.
Oh, that was college, not college, Charleston. Oh, Lord.
Anyway, you know,
I'm wearing the shirt from the school. I'm wearing the shirt from the
From
school
that school.
today. Yeah,
Anyway.
it's Coastal Carolina.
Coastal, yeah.
Okay.
So they won the national championship, and then the women won the basketball. So South Carolina has represented this year in college in collegiate sports.
Yeah, they've had some great representation. We've had some great political representation too.
Well, you said, you know, the clock is ticking and it sounds stressful. And that's exactly, I think, the point of this show, is because for those people that realize that the clock is ticking, they have that stress, they need to come to us so that we can remove that stress.
Absolutely.
Because once we lay out, you talked about an income plan, once we lay out the income plan, you see exactly where you are and where you're going to be, where you need to be. When you see your Social Security options and we fully maximize that opportunity, we could definitely take the stress out of what it is that you're doing.
Well, and it's so true, Steve, because you know they're not getting monthly statements because they're not seeing that kind of market volatility, and unfortunately, what's happening is people are creatures of habit, and so everybody gets this mentality that oh, everything's okay now, the market's going up. And in reality, their accounts may have as much, if not more, exposure than they've ever had. And so if they're not looking and seeing how much exposure they have, what they can do about it, you know, there's a lot of risk. And so, folks, one of the things that you need to look at, we've talked about a cash plan, we've talked about auto and homeowners plan, we've talked about a safe money plan, an income plan, a Social Security plan. We've even talked about the Department of Labor plan with the fiduciary rules that are coming up. But right now, do you have a risk plan? In other words, how much risk do you have? How much risk are you carrying? And Steve, this is crucial because so many times when people come to see us at the Prosperity Group, in fact, folks, be tuning in, go to our website, www.mymoneyissafe.com. We'll have the dates officially, but we should have some seminar dates coming up. So tune into our websites where you'll get to meet us, and we'll be talking about some of the safe money strategies that are there. We've had a lot of requests to start doing seminars again, and so we are going to, we listen to our clients, and we're going to do that. So we're going to be doing that. So again, Steve, risk. That's such a big issue because I see so many people with like 99% of the money at risk.
It's funny you said that, because as you were talking, I always take notes when you're talking just to things that I'm thinking about. And here's what I wrote. I wrote, you know, you have the risk of the market. Everybody knows. I mean, don't be the guy that buries your head in the sand and act like that because the market's continuing to go up, it's going to always go up. It can't. It never has. It never will. It's always going to correct, and it needs to correct. So you got the risk of the market. You got risk of not taking action. So as we've been talking about the clock ticking, you know, those people that have been procrastinating, or for whatever reason, life changes or whatever, now they realize they can see the train coming, they don't know how to get out of the tunnel, you know, the light's coming at them, what do they do, how do they get off of it? So, you know, the risk of not taking action, the risk of not taking advantage of Social Security, we talked about the Social Security Maximization Report. It's so important for you to make sure that you're maximizing that strategy, and we can help you with that with the Social Security Max Report. And then, as you said, there's another report that we do called the Color of Money, which has to do with the amount of risk that you have in the market. We never say that you don't have it, you should never have any money in the market. You know, there's definitely a place for that, but as you move into retirement, certainly it makes sense for you to take chips off the table, so to speak, so that you make sure that the amount of money that you have is safe, which is the whole point of what we talk about all the time, safe money strategies. Zero is our hero.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Zero is my hero, and that's the thing, folks. You have to mitigate some of your risk. All right, now's the time to do it. If you have a 401k, you have an IRA, and you're worried about what to do with those accounts, give us a call at 864-989-0176. 864-989-0176. Now, folks, we're going to bring the ship home here. We've been talking about Social Security. We've been talking about risk. Listen, first of all, if you want a Social Security maximization report, you want a customized report, give us a call. We'll get together with you. We'll get the information that you need, and we'll put that together for you.
How much does those reports cost, by the way? We were talking about those reports. How much do they cost?
Well, they would normally cost somebody probably about $50 a report to do, but we don't charge them.
Well, truthfully, if they were to sit down with a financial planner, somebody that fee-based, which we are not, those people would charge, could charge thousands.
Yeah.
Literally thousands.
Yeah, a couple of $1,000s.
We do not
and-
charge them.
Not yet, and that's something that we will probably be entering into, is into the fee-based thing, especially with this DOL
Yep.
rule that's going on. So right now, folks, take advantage of the fact that we are not yet charging, and take advantage that we can put these plans together. And right now, these plans can be put together for you at virtually no cost. So it's important. Listen, Steve, I enjoy having you every time when we're on the show here. I appreciate it. I think it adds a lot to the show. I want people to call us, not just to call us because we don't have anything to do, but give us a call and listen to some of the things we're talking about. Look at the homeowners. Steve, so many people think the big 2 or 3 companies are the cheapest ways to go, and I've learned the hard way that they're not.
That's right.
And it's not just a question of cheap, it's a question of need and what you have. You're an expert at the P&C world, so this is something that you can do. In fact, we did a show last week with business owners. Business owners, if you want a cost mitigation right now to see how you can save a ton on taxes, if you think that's important to you, then give us a call. Don't do what many business owners do. They're so busy running their business, they don't make a plan.
I know we're almost out of time. I talked to a business owner this week, may be able to put $1.2 million back in his pocket at no cost to him. That's pretty amazing.
1.2 million. Folks, we're out of time. This is Greg Ellie and Steve Lewis. God bless you. Have a great day. Hey, Joe, what is the key to get on the internet? I'm trying to get on there.
I believe it's buy radio.